Blah, blah, blah. YouTube doesn't need to insert any ads for me. All right, I'm going to check YouTube, make sure that's up and running. Looks like it is. Well, that's an ad. All right, cool. Now I think we're back. Next up, we head on over to Twitch, so I'm going to start that up. Bloop. Come on in, Twitch. The water's fine. Oh, yeah. No, I don't need to update my story. What the hell is my story? What is this? Here we go. We are good to go. We are good to go. We are good to go. Okay, so we probably down DM Bacon. That's pretty much a given. I do have a shout out to make to him, but I didn't get the stuff ready to make the shout out for him yet, so I don't have that ready for right now. Sorry, bro. DM Lacara may or may not show up tonight. DM Shin should be here. But let me just get some other stuff out of the way real quick. Okay. So something I did after last stream. Actually, it might have been. No, it was after last stream. We had talked about it at the stream before, but I finally got a chance to go do it. Is that if you are a YouTube member on the Kage Okami channel, there is now Discord integration. You will be put right into, as long as your YouTube and your Discord are linked, you will be put into Okamigakure, and there you will get a role that is related to your tier as a YouTube member. If you do not have your YouTube and Discord integrated, let me know. I made a role separate because some people don't want all their stuff linked up. I have a separate role that will get you into a specific channel, which is the Vanguard Hunters Club, or rather the Vanguard Hunters Den, Hunter Vanguard Den, which you can come in and chat in Okamigakure about videos that the general public has not seen yet. You can come join the Early Bird Club, which is usually BP, though he doesn't always do it in Okamigakure. Sometimes he does it there. Bacon might come chat. You're pretty much out of luck thinking that DM Lacara will come chat in Okamigakure, but she does see the stuff before it comes out.
I think that's a fair point.
What's up, DM Shin?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Tommy? Happy stream day, and
Happy
to everybody
stream day.
Everybody that's come back to join us for the final bit of the 2024 debauchery. I mean, release and player's handbook by WotC.
Hoo-wee!
I got a lot of feelings towards this one.
I do have this on my agenda. I wrote it down in my agenda notes as spells and items on character sheet victory.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna talk about it when we got fully started. I wasn't going to talk about it yet, but there is something about that I did want to mention too. I think we're on the same page of of thinking.
Oh, WotC.
Yeah. depending, I guess we should get it out the way, right?
Yeah, might as well get it
It's
out of the way.
relative.
I do not know if DM Lacara will be here. She might have baby stuff to do, so
It's okay.
might just be us.
I will carry. We will carry the torches always. Maybe Dungeon Mommy will pop in and surprise us. Who knows?
Yeah.
We never know. Who knows? DM Bacon could appear. Anything can happen.
It's true.
Anything can happen. But I think we're both talking about the fact that D&D Beyond, as of I think the 30th of August, is going to be changing everything for players and DMs by updating spells to 2024. Spells and items are going to become their 2024 editions from their 2014 editions. I hate them.
Okay, so the victory portion is that so many people were up in arms about this. I don't know how many notices you caught, but earlier in the week, they released a post that said, hey, we're going to update all your stuff, but we're going to give you access to a compendium that is all the spells and items from 2014 that you can look at but cannot add to your character sheets. And I think that's why they started today they were like, you know what? We're going to let you guys keep what you had on there because we don't want to die.
Well, the last I heard, it was that they are going to allow you to keep them, but you have to create them as custom magic items.
Yeah. So that was part of they'll be in the compendium. Actually, no, that was before the compendium because they wanted us to make a copy of whatever that was.
Yeah, for ourselves offline so that we could look at it and then recreate it as a magic item customly.
And then they put in the compendium, which honestly would have been a worse idea. Like if they had the compendium there that you could look at but couldn't use, do you know how infuriating that would be?
Oh, Grimbo, you are absolutely on point. What's up? It is absolutely backpedaling on their part. And quite honestly, I think that as a DM, if I don't want to use, if I haven't purchased 2024, don't give me 2024 material. Leave my 2014, my decade behind, if that makes sense. Like, just leave me there.
That is a very good point that I had not thought of. No, that is an excellent point. Like, I don't want that. I don't need it.
Yeah, like I personally am not running 2024. Eventually, maybe I will. But when I decide to, that's when I'll purchase 2024 and then give me the ability to toggle on for my players 2024. In the same way that we can share everything else, in the same way that if you don't have Tasha's and the update to monsters as well, which changed all the classes and the races to have legacy of it versions of themselves, where stat bonuses were. If you don't have certain things, you can't access everything. So don't force options onto your users just because you're updating your PHP. Because what you're saying is that D&D Beyond is no longer going to be a suitable place for 5th edition users who are using basic 5th edition, as I'll call it for right now. Or like OG original, or like OG 5th edition. Not 2024 or 5.5e, as we'll call it for now. Obviously, sites like Roll20 and everything like that have a lot more stuff built into it to allow you customization because they're built for tabletops versus just D&D. I use Roll20. If you are or have been a D&D Beyond fanatic for the longest time, I can give you my personal suggestion that Roll20 and its premium setup is great for any tabletop. If you want to run Pathfinder, if you want to start experiencing and playing around stuff, plenty of tools. very similar to D&D Beyond. We're not paid for this. This is just a self pitch because I'm an online DM. But I think again, it's also now going to push for offline DMs like yourself, Okami, to now either update all your knowledge on things and have to readjust everything in your players' inventories. You know what I mean? Because we're talking, you've got a large party, so that's a lot to play around with. Or have them download their current versions and say, hey, your offline versions of your sheet are your sheet now.
Like the idea that they would say, hey, I'm going to ruin everything anyone with an ongoing campaign is doing is crazy to me. Even if their first choice was like, hey, we're going to move all your character sheets that are currently active to a different area of your like character sheet list that just says like, oh, this has legacy content on it. Even if you made that like read only for the time being, like that would have been such a better option than telling people straight up, I'ma fuck your shit up.
1,000%. And it would have been much more appreciated in the long run because there's a better chance that I would look into 2024, even if you gave it to us and said, hey, you can toggle it off, right? If you force it on us on that one, said you could toggle it off and go back to normal. I might create a sheet and toggle it on to play around with things to eventually balance my game into 2024 versus being thrust into 2024 and now having to learn a swath of crap. I don't want to do that. It's not a laziness on my part as a DM as much as it's a mass undoing of a lot of current campaigns.
Yeah. At least now we'll keep our sheets. Everything should stay the same. Which is honestly what I can't believe that. Well, no, I totally can believe. I've been in enough corporate environment to understand that there are some people who do not understand customers or anything.
People matter in corporate? I don't think we've ever seen that before. Just kind of take a deep sip, pull my chair forward. But I am happy to hear that they're going to they undid their idea. So thank God they are not going to cause hell. But I still say that Armageddon could come at one point when they're just like, oh, we were nice to you. Now we've given you enough time to buy 2024 and pull the plug anyway. Because they say it takes up. I'm thinking of when they had all the Unearthed Arcana stuff official on D&D Beyond. And you had access to a lot of the cool UA stuff that they had come out with, especially a lot of like the druid circles and some of the cool like additional warlock pact options and things of that nature. I thought a lot of that was cool. Some of it did get moved forward, but like for me personally, I know we're going to talk about warlock. One of my personal favorite warlock subclasses that disappeared when Unearthed Arcana disappeared was the Raven Queen. Who, if you don't know the lore, is essentially I'll call her like the judge of things that should be living. She has a very, depending on the version that you look at, the one that was in the Unearthed Arcana was that you're essentially sent out to stop undeath because undeath is against the natural cycle. You get a lot of ice. You're kind of an undead yourself, but you're in a state of not undeath, but semi-living. Thing. I really loved it. And it was on the site, and then it was gone. And I miss it every day.
I prefer almost everything officially related to runes as it was when it was Unearthed Arcana, and then like when Big B's released and they changed everything, like the official versions, I hate them. I don't think that they're all that useful. But like the original Unearthed Arcana versions, oh, this is good. My character that we made for the Empowered is using the Unearthed Arcana version of some of that. Yeah, he is. I don't think it's Noise Gate related though.
Hold on, let me see. See if I can fix that for you guys. Did not notice.
I was trying to see if it was
second,
Noise
guys.
Gate, but I don't think it was.
No, it could be me. Thanks for letting us know.
Oh my god, I'm so gassy.
Okay, testing, 1, 2.
So far, so good.
Okay. Huh, that was weird.
The pain.
Okay. It's always the pain. I'm not torrenting.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm positive.
Yo, remember when anytime someone's internet was bad, it was clearly because they were downloading illegal stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have no idea.
I cut one of the streams that I was watching. Let's see if I can pull this. I was watching both streams simultaneously, so let us know, Grimbo, if I start sounding like Chibbity Chop.
But so far, so good. I will also say that version of the Raven Queen is closer to what Critical Roles uses. I use the other origin for the Raven Queen, but you don't need to look that up, Grimbo. I mean, you can. It doesn't really affect... Well, I guess technically it does affect your character. I was thinking it wouldn't affect you because she's not your kin. She's Bacon's kin. But it might affect your character. So don't go look up the Raven Queen lore. Don't do that.
I just want my Sentinel Raven back.
Oh.
You got that free pact familiar? That Sentinel Raven that you could use, and it gave you the ability to gaze through its eyes and hear what it hears within 100 feet.
She did steal your house. Wait, I'm gonna open it up because since we're on Warlocks now, and I don't know if we're gonna ever go through them because this is stuff I've already gone through. It is on the repository, which you will get access to if you become a channel member at the Respected Hunter or Patreon at Respected Hunter. But I have a bunch of other pacts that I've found over the years that I really love. Like one of them is Pact of the Symbiote, which is obviously it's Venom and Carnage and the rest of the Clintar, but you can flavor it however you want. And I thought that I was going to give DM Bacon, I thought he would choose Pact of the Symbiote, and I was going to give him Living Fire. And I thought that was so cool. So some of the other Dawn Titans Warlocks will have Pact of the Symbiote, which for them is just Living Fire, which is so cool.
Now, can I say something controversial?
Yes.
Symbiotes are just Marvel stands.
Ooh.
Or just what?
Oh my goodness, DM
What
Lacara.
up, DM Lacara? I thought I heard a bloop.
You did hear a bloop. How are you?
They are. How is it going, DM Lacara?
I am
Pretty good.
happy to be here with you guys. So what a Marvel what?
The
so
symbiotes, like you've definitely seen Oxford Common and I post gifs of that big like black goo with all the teeth and the big long tongue?
I know what venom is. I'm
Oh, okay.
not that much of a rock dweller. No, but it sounded like DM Shin was saying something that they're a version of something else, and I don't know what the something else is.
Oh, why would I think you would know what JoJo was? No, that totally makes sense.
So it's an anime, and in which
That was stupid
there
of
are
me.
a lot of it's an anime that a lot of characters, after a certain point in the anime, because it's multiple parts as they call them, every like couple hundred chapters, but in one generation of it, they they gain this thing called a stand. It's kind of like a extension of self, well, and like a created power. Also, like if you've ever seen like or heard of Persona, it's like that as well. If you've seen those games pop up in places, it's very much this idea of like another form of self that exists within you. And they just manifest this power. And in my head, I look at the symbiotes and I say, I mean, it speaks to you, yes, and it's not really you; it's something else. But isn't it also the same thing?
Yeah, it's like the outfits, the superhero outfits from Kill la Kill.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are
Yes.
good.
Although I think that was supposed to be parasitic, not symbiotic.
I feel like in both cases, even though in Kill la Kill is meant to be more parasitic, it became symbiotic because of its survival factor. The survival factor it gave the user.
Yeah. It was intended parasitically, but then was kind of subverted.
Yeah, it was like a double-edged symbiote.
The double-edged symbiote, if that's not some like grunge punk band name, I don't know what it is.
Double-edged symbiote. If it was 1990 and we grew up in the Bay Area,
Yep.
I think we could run with this.
No, we'd already have had to be dead from heroin overdoses.
True.
That's also true.
We're too old
That's
for
true.
that.
By now we would. Well, no, one of us would have had to have died. Another one of us would have had to keep trying to make music and just fail miserably, and then one of us would end up on reality TV.
Oh God. That just hurts.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wait till you see Okami of Love.
I mean,
that would be the worst dating show ever.
I mean, that's a perfect segue into Warlocks, though. I mean, they seem downright cheery now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this image they're using for them is pretty happy. And again, like you don't necessarily have to be down on your luck to be a warlock, but like most of the people who are giving up their soul, like they're pretty low.
They're not doing it for giggle.
I've never thought of, even in the cheeriest of the warlock pact options, like the Fae. When I first read the Fae coming into like D&D, I'd like the Fae. Oh, fairies, Fern Gully, sure. Then I got into fantasy.
You're like,
and I understood the Fae as of tricksters, and I was like, oh no, this is much more frightening. Like
this is dark.
Yeah, like wait, there's no joy here. This is
okay. That time, Grimbo, I'm sure everybody cut out for you. That time was on me. My OBS just died for a second. All the lights went out on it. I was like, huh? And then it came back. That one was me.
Yeah, I heard everything.
Yeah.
What was that about, OBS? Please don't scare me like that again.
We're hoping it won't.
Oh, your little thing in Discord actually says streaming right now. I've never seen that before.
Huh. Oh, it does. And it actually,
wow.
it's actually true this time. There's so many times you'll open up a program and Discord's like, I'm going to put you in streamer mode so no one can steal your friend's usernames. I'm like, huh? Pretty sure they know like 90% of my friends' usernames already.
Pretty sure we openly share enough of our name in a way for them to contact us in the various ways that they can on the, or at least this channel, and now like this like entire series that you've been cooking up, Okami. Pretty sure they know
Yeah.
they
Come
can reach
talk
out
to us about TTRPGs. We love it.
We do.
Speaking of hanging out and following along with us, if you're watching us in the YouTube stream or you're watching this as a VOD on YouTube later, you can go in the description below to click the links to follow along with us for Warlock. If you're on Twitch right now, I'm going to share the link so you can follow along, and I will pin it for the next 30 minutes. So if you come in a bit later, you can still see it. Bloop.
I guess
shared
we'll
in
start.
there too. Thank you.
No problem. I guess we'll start taking a look at Cheerlock.
So happy. I getting back to like, you don't necessarily have to be down on your luck. I think that like in my campaign with Bacon's Sorlock, when he became a warlock, like his or I guess technically it's hers 'cause he's playing a female character. Her pact is that she has to be available 24/7 to perform tasks. It's just that the task is make sure as the Dawn Titan I can continue to sleep, because if I wake up, I'm gonna blow up this earth. And that's like the cheeriest, the best case scenario I think you can get when your ultimate goal is make sure my patron continues their eons long nap.
Well, let's take a look at this. I'm looking at this cheery picture again, and I can tell it's now a gnome. And that's the happiest gnome reaching into what looks like the Aether of Chaos I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I'd expect a gnome to look, but I have never thought warlock and thought gnome.
Also,
I mean,
yes.
Warlock sounds cool.
It does sound cool.
I always think of moody humans.
I think
I
of
usually
Dragonborn,
do.
but that's probably because that was one of our first party members.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think of like, I usually think of either, for me, it's either half elves, tieflings, or dragonborn for these options.
Yeah.
Oh, tiefling also makes a lot of sense.
What is with his nails?
I hope that's a pact feature, and not that he's just dirty.
I think he just uses lots of drugs.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Is he packed of the heroin? Is that
what?
Not even packed of, just packing.
Just packing heroin. Just eldritchification high. Just but I guess we'll start looking at the highest gnome who thinks he's got a warlock pack. I
just like was going through the dots and I was like, what did you just say to me?
I hope this doesn't get you like some kind of rating, Okami. Kids can no longer watch your videos.
What did you say to me? Packed boons are now invocations. Everything is invocations, and you can have more than one. So you could have your he could have his living fire symbiote, and he could have a pet, and he could have other ones. Okay, so just that. Oh, this is the now the most customizable class in 2024. Instead of you just being like, you pick what you want at level 1, and you only make that better until 20.
Okay, did you read the best one of these? Cantrip buffing invocations can be chosen for other cantrips than Eldritch Blast.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah. We just got 300-foot poison spray.
Oh no.
We just got Eldritch Lance versions of Ice Bolt and Toll the Dead and everything. We just said, hey, cantrips, you want to edit cantrips? Pick a Warlock.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sure. You do get your Eldritch Invocations at level 1 now instead of 2. Okay. It seems like everything is Eldritch Invocation. I wish that these sheets, like these what's new, I feel like they did a disservice to the community by not putting that like level up chart in each of them that like shows you like this is how many spells you're gonna get. Because like Sorcerer said like, oh, you have more spells now, and I'm like, does that just mean one more spell? Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? So if you're getting more Eldritch Invocations because there's so many things now, like I wanna know what I got. I want to know what I can get. Give me the stuff.
Well, yeah, but they're gonna make you shell out like $60 for the book, so that you know the detail.
Yeah. Come on, this is WotC.
So far, they've said that all the base classes and the first 4 subclasses for everyone's going to get for free. Do I necessarily believe that and that it's going to work in your character sheet? Not a chance.
I mean, I know how you can get it to work. You type in your credit card information online on a little site called D&D Beyond. You buy the book, and it'll enable. But I will say, like I said before, I don't know why automatically it looks like they've turned. Where sorcerers, meta magic was the way to alter the power of spells. It's like they've made the warlock their equivalent by giving them the power to alter their cantrips now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Which makes sorlocks literally broken.
If you make
DMs are gonna have to be like, you can be a Sorlock, but you cannot do any of the things.
Like your Sorlock now is more knowledgeable about the weave than a wizard is. That's weird.
I don't know about knowledgeable, like ROLE playing, but like they can manipulate it at least better.
Yeah, for ROL play.
Yeah.
We haven't looked at the wizard yet.
That's true. Maybe the wizard's different.
Maybe even more broken.
But like this idea that like you just have it built into you where you're like, I know how to exploit this part of the weave. Why is Mistra not coming down and slapping your hand off of it like she's been doing for the last like 2,000 years?
Because this is 2024.
They're going to tell us we can't have gods. There's going to be no pantheons.
Oh, no, that's definitely coming. That's definitely coming.
Because religion is bad. It divides people.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's Norse, apparently, because that's never been exploited before.
Yeah. You know, Odin, totally dope. Gonna ignore the ritual sacrifices on Wednesdays for Odin. Slap him in all your favorite children's games. No. But I kind of skipped ahead to see that it says, like you said, Okami, pack boons are now Eldritch Invocations. Your pack boons, such as Pact of the Blade, Pact of Tome, or Pact of Chain, was a separate feature bestowed at level 3. In 2024, its feature's gone, and you just choose them as part of your Eldritch Invocations. Further improvements to your pack boon are accessible via invocations, such as Gift of the Protectors, Investment of the Chainmaster, Thirsting Blade. So rolling pack boons entirely into invocations simplifies the structure while preserving the mechanics, they say.
The next part is just like, oh, we won't have level prerequisites for any of the pact, what used to be pact boons. So at level 1, you can choose what would have been a pact boon. Okay. I mean, you're giving people everything. You might as well mess around with it.
And wizards are now going to have D10 hit dice.
Right. It says, while some invocations do carry prerequisite levels, such as Agonizing Blast, which requires you to be level 2. I'm sorry, level 1, too powerful. Level 2, though, slap an extra D10 event damage on that Toll of the Dead. This means you can select the Familiar, Book of Shadows, or Pact Weapon at level 1. Is Book of Shadows at level 1 broken?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never seen anyone use Pact of the Tome.
I
I
have.
have.
I use it.
Oh.
I use it kind of exclusively.
Yeah, our Dragonborn was Pact of the Tome.
Oh.
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't that useful.
It seemed useful at higher levels, and only because you'll have access to a lot of higher spells and more options as it levels up,
Yeah.
because you invest more into it. Like, the goal is to eventually kind of supplement your entire spell list that's limited as a warlock. It loses out for sure to Pact of the Blade, which Hex Blades we just know are just
Yeah.
the best way to go as a warlock of any fashion, I think. And then Pact of Familiar is actually dope because you do get a lot of power. And I think, Okami, does Pact of the Familiar eventually get the ability to fight alongside you?
Yep.
Okay, so it does
Also,
become a pet.
Pact of the Familiar would make so much sense because you get a familiar. You even cast Find Familiar to find it. But it's called Pact of the Chain, which confuses me every time because it's not like Bleach, where like when you're a dead soul, like there's a chain visible to show that like you're tethered to the underworld. Like I understand like the idea that like you've got this creature on a leash, but I hate that it's called Pact of the Chain. I don't like the name. It's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, DM Lacara.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I was just agreeing.
I always thought of it kind of as you were chained to your pact, to your like patron. So like the familiar, even though you're summoning the familiar is an extension of the being giving you power. So it's kind of like you're chained to him, and it's just kind of like a small. I looked at it was like or when I did play around with that, and one of the players I did have to use a pack familiar, we both played it as, oh, it's giving you all the orders your patron wants you to follow, and if you do things out of line in front of it, it's gonna punish you for your patron. Like you're getting like almost like a warden.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's always how I interpreted the Warlock familiars, was that they were like there to keep an eye on you.
Oh. I've always looked at them as they're there to keep an eye on you, but like they're in a worse position than you. So it's not like they're doing it. They're still doing what they're doing for the benefit of the patron, but it's more like they'll also suffer a lot if you do something that your patron wouldn't like.
Yeah, I've always spared the familiar.
The familiar, I've always, because I think of everything that the warlock has. Like if you were to strip a warlock of its patron, he's just a person. He's not like a fighter. Like if you strip a cleric of his holy powers, he's still a fighter. In a sense, like the way he's kind of cleric's constructed. But when you strip a lot of like the pure martial class, like the pure magical classes, like warlock, wizard, and sorcerer, of their magical powers, they have nothing. So I just imagine that if you, for some odd reason, pissed off your patron and he was just like, "I'm done with you," you just end up a regular guy.
Yeah.
You become the commoner.
You become
the commoner.
Yes. We had a discussion at even before Bacon decided that he wanted to become a warlock, and now before Goblin Slayer has decided he wants to also become a warlock. I'm not gonna.
Hmm?
I'm not gonna worry about that. But we had this discussion at the very beginning where rules as written in the book, the only class that's like if you lose your power, like if you lose the benefit of your patron, you lose all those levels. And I was like, I understand that idea, like you're becoming a regular guy, but the way that it's written, you're supposed to lose all your powers, and they don't transfer to anything else. Like if you pick up a new patron or you change your class, you're supposed to just have lost all those levels, which would be so frustrating if you were a player, especially since you're in a party that you've now lost like half or all of the levels that you gained alongside this party. So we were like, if you lose your patron, you can transfer those levels if you take up a new god or a new patron. Not gonna just like -7 levels from you and you're never getting them back.
I've never heard of a warlock becoming separated from their patron under any circumstances. To be
Want
totally
that
honest.
power? I
Yeah.
will say I think Critical Role probably popularized the idea
Which idea?
of getting your patron separated from your patron.
Yeah, because I think even in the standard like player's handbook, they're like, yeah, you're basically in this for good. Like,
Rules as
patrons are
written
not
in
in
the
the
handbook.
habit of
Yeah.
yeah.
You just minus all those levels. No recourse. Gone.
I mean, it makes sense for the kind of like vindictive situations that it's kind of built for.
Mm.
But yeah, definitely would not do that to a player.
You gotta go on. It's like the dating game, but it's one demon worse than the last.
Oh my god. No, that is a one-off. You've lost your patron and you're interviewing new candidates.
Oh my god.
And then that's
Instead
how
of, like,
you
speed dating.
start the campaign afterward. After this one shot, now you have a patron and the campaign starts. You've like escaped Avernus.
It's like, okay, we're out here now. They're looking for us. I'm your patron. I've never been a patron. I've never been a patron before. Your demon's never been a patron before, and you've never had them. So it's going to be like learning on the fly. That could be fun.
I'm thinking one of the players, one of the PCs, is the patron.
I did something similar in the one warlock that I had in a small, I'd say like a 5-session campaign that I ran during the pandemic. His girlfriend was his patron.
Mhm.
So when she was over, the person whose girlfriend was over, she would pretty much act as the patron, and I would kind of ask her like, okay, how do you feel about that action, being as you are the will of his patron? And she played into it perfectly. That was the only time I've ever had a PC patron.
That sounds great.
It got to be funny because there was a point where I guess he was trying to like chat this person up, and he's like, oh, I have high charisma. I'll flirt with the bartender. And so it was like a joking flirt between me and my buddy. And at one point she goes, your patron disproves of your outlandish flirting in front of me. I just started cracking up, and they were like, and I was like, do you want me to take away their powers? They're like, temporarily, yes. They have disadvantage on everything. And I was like, okay. Until you appease your patron, you have disadvantage.
Oh my god. That would be so much fun. I'm thinking like a Scourge Azamar as the patron,
Ooh.
like on some kind of vendetta, and they need like a sidekick, and they take on somebody as a warlock.
We had a discussion in the Discord that I have within a comic area, but for my campaign, the Echo Seekers, somebody made this meme that was like, oh, if you're looking to play 5.5e, you should pick up this instead. And if you want to play 6e, you should pick up this instead. And if you want to play 4.5e, you should pick up this instead. And one of the options was the MCDM RPG, which is like Matt Colville's version, which is, they were like, you can, if you want 4.5e, so if you want a very video gamey feeling when you're playing your TTRPGs, like MCDM's RPG is the choice for that. But the way that his world works, like your characters are, you being in the world and adventuring like suffuses you with magic. Like your character has their own aura. So wherever they set up base, they like suffuse the land around them with their aura, and they can control the land around their home base for like miles and miles, and it gets different abilities based on what class you are. Even if you're not a magic wielder, even if you're just a martial caster, you're so powerful that like you've absorbed the ambient power in the universe. And like those, if you were playing the MCDM RPG, like every adventurer past level 5 could be somebody's patron.
Wow.
But NCDM also is completely exploration lacking. Like there's no dungeons in MCDM, if I recall. I think MCDM is just like pure battle.
He's got like the idea is that it's West Marches, sort of. So you always like return to your base, but like you know when armies are coming and stuff. Like because you're suffusing the land for miles and miles around, I was like, it doesn't lend itself well to making the world like living and breathing, because you can't have multiple adventuring parties in like the same area of the country, because their powers are going to cancel each other out or like get in the way of one another because they're suffusing the land with their aura. Like you have to be the only heroes.
Which means you have to. It's Highlander almost.
Yeah.
Maybe a great way for the DM to just slip other people in though and be like, oh, well, their aura canceled out your aura, so you didn't know they were coming.
Ooh, it's like, oh, congratulations, you got a turf battle.
Yeah. Guess what? Someone else set up camp 3 miles away.
Oh my god. I just had a there's plenty of people who do like there's a, I forgot what the show is called. I should know this, but I don't. They post in like all the Facebook groups I'm in. But they have I think it's either twice a month or once a month. They run a show on YouTube where they run a session that's almost like a game show where you like throw 4 or 5 players in, and like there's some weirdness in the specific environment that they've got, almost like you're trapped in a carnival. It's like Smash TV but for TTRPGs, and the players can work together, or they can like kill one another or get in one another's way to get out of this dungeon. And I was like, the fact that like your auras can cancel out, you could even have like your turf battles like are you DMing 2 parties fighting one another.
Oh my god.
And I was just in my head, I'm like building a map with my physical map pieces, and I'm like, oh, this is essentially what Tanera's Adventures and Arena, the contest, like if you play the PvP modes in that game, that's what it is. And I didn't realize that until now. It's 2 adventuring parties fighting each other because they just happen to be in the same spot. Oh, there's so much you can do with that. That's also one way to get around like the idea that we've all realized Bacon had, where like he doesn't want PvP in his game. What if it's PvE versus PvP?
No. 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 Not with these 2024 rules, not for sure. Not with these 2020.
Speaking of which,
Yes, we digress.
you get more invocations that you can repeat.
Okay, so you max out at 10 invocations. That at least tells me how many you have total. How many did you have before? I have no idea. Oh, you used to max out at 8, so you get 2 extra ones.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess if you get 2 extra ones, so think of it as like they're guessing you're gonna take 2 what would have been packed boons.
Probably. They're probably assuming like if you take, everyone's going to take a pack boon, I think naturally, because they're well.
It's like a huge improvement to
were,
your character, so you might as well.
But I think they were necessary before. I think that certain things that we read before in the bullet points that we're going to get into next, I won't delay us too long. I think, and I'll get to it more then, I think is going to really shift the need for pack boons. Unless they change certain things about the way those pack boons turn invocations work. But I see they also let you still replace it once per level, which is cool.
Yeah, you
I
don't
appreciate
like what
that.
you're using, go do it. We have, in my campaign, we have a rule where if you're one of the classes that you just pick your spells, you don't get to prepare them per day. If it's a spell you've never used, we'll let you swap it out for something else because no one see you use that spell. But you can only do it once. Once you've used it, you're going to have to wait till that level. But if you've never used it. I forgot what spell this started with, but Goblin Slayer was the one who did it. We didn't even know he had another spell. We thought he only had one spell. And he was like, the other one just isn't useful for me. And we're like, well, I'll let you change this one because you've never used it. It's been like 6 levels. You've never used it.
Yeah.
It's not much for your group. Nobody remembers what they have. It's not
ever.
No.
Ever.
Nebby Ebby.
I mean, my party used to run around tying literally everything we got from anybody to branches of trees in different places that we never went back to.
Pourquoi?
So our group was very nearly killed several times in a couple of nights, camping out in woods, and we became so paranoid that our entire party would lash ourselves to tree branches to sleep at night until one of the members of our party finally got what the hell, the little bubble dome that you get to set up.
Liamon's tiny hut.
Liamon's tiny hut, thank you. That was the first time that any of us slept on the ground in that campaign. We got ambushed. So naturally, that was the safest place for everything else too, just, wrap it in some oilcloth, tie it to a tree branch.
Okay. I was thinking it was like this is the path we've come, like you were in the Minotaur's labyrinth. But no, that makes sense too. Nobody wants to die.
I think one thing that's going to start killing people are these edited invocational cantrips.
Yeah. And also, apparently nothing uses spell slots for them anymore.
Yeah, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
So reading the little part before that, you can keep getting the same things, but it seems like they're also making it the way they're writing it is that like your invocations were tied to Eldritch Blast, so logically that means you should just tie your invocation to one spell. But I mean, if now it's on any cantrip, it only makes logical sense that it's whatever cantrip you're using you can apply this to.
Yeah. There's really nothing here yet that we've been like, why would you do this?
So far, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this here is exactly why you don't need Pack Boom. I think Pack of the Tome just became obsolete.
It's just to give yourself more cantrips so that you can buff them.
Yeah, that's really the only reason you want to continue Pack of the Tome. Actually, I retract my previous statement. It's now buffed the hell out of Pack of the Tome.
Yeah, all your cantrips are going to get better.
You can literally become a cantrip. Oh, that's going to become frustrating.
I'm trying to figure out
as a DM.
What is this guy? Blah 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 blah. Don't care. I'm looking up.
Yeah, especially since the cantrips are so buff, and then you can still cast a spell.
Yeah, and they scale with most of them scale with level.
Yeah.
So, Toll the Dead, and I see that they mention you can boost the damage for Toll the Dead. Toll the Dead is a 1d10, I think.
Yeah, or 12 if they don't have their full health.
Yeah. Now add charisma modifier and range, along with the ability to eat repelling blast. So you mean to tell me I can Toll the Dead point blank and repel everything around me?
Oh, this might blow. Not Pact of the Symbiote, but one of the other pacts that I have in the repository is Pact of the Rune, and it used to be that, well, it still is. The rune that you basically like draw a rune in the air, like Cucullin, if he's a caster in Fate Stay Night, and if you can apply the rune to other people after drawing it in the air, and if it gets them, it lowers their speed by half, and then it can also do other things based on that. But if you're getting 3 cantrips with Pact of the Tome that you can then like add to, might blow Pact of the Rune out of the water.
Yeah, it makes it invalid. So you don't need spell slots. You have buffed cantrips. What do you get at level 2?
Yeah.
I just want to note that this was all level 1.
You get a lot of level 1 for Warlock. Dang.
Yeah. Level 2, pack magic and spell slot progression work the same as they did before. You can still recover expended spell slots at the end of a short or long rest. This now gives you another way to recover spell slots. You can use this feature to spend a minute on a ritual that restores half of your max spell slots rounded.
Wait. I'm assuming that means we're getting more spell slots, because normally they have like 2 for the whole game. So you could just say it gets you 1 spell slot back.
But you mean to tell me the person just spends a minute, gets all their spell slots back. Short rests, gets the spell slot back. Long rests, gets all their spell slots back. So they now have multiple ways to just get spell slots whenever they want.
Yep.
They took I forgot what that ability is called for paladins. Divine something, where you like concentrate and you get a spell slot back. They gave it to Warlocks.
Oh, fear. And at level 20, you gain it all back. You just, every spell slot, you just get it at level 20 because they want you to reach that. So
all
you can
4 of them.
prestige. Yes.
Yeah. All 4 of them.
Probably 5 now. They got a level 6 slot that they can use for something. And finally we get their subclass.
Hey.
Because they weren't broken. They were broken before they got a subclass, and now we can make it even more specialized, it seems, for the Warlock.
This guy at least seems less happy.
Yeah, this is more Warlock-ish.
So I think that's a chick.
Oh.
I also agree. I don't know.
Could just have Terry Crews chest.
Yeah, but it's got long hair and earrings and long nails.
But it's Avernus.
I agree, though. It could go either way. This is like a gender fluid deeply.
They got us here. They got us.
Mm-hmm.
Your move, Watson.
Your move.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So it is moving the subclass back 2 levels, which is kind of weird, actually, now. Because does that mean you spend the first 2 levels having powers with no idea who's giving them to you?
They did this. What was the other thing they did this with? Sorcerers, not having their sorcerer's origin until level 3.
You're right.
No
Especially
sense.
like if you're taking, if you want to become a Hexblade or you're taking a tome, like at least with this only helps Pact of the Chain. If you take that as your first invocation, because like ROLE playing wise, Pact of the Chain would make sense. Like this little imp or whatever is gonna lead you down a dark path because you're in the gutter already. But the other 2 just really don't make sense. You're like, I got powers. I'm not beholden to any. I guess technically it's the same thing. Like, I have powers. I'm not beholden to any. Oh, God. Well, not God.
You wish. So if you have an Archfey patron, you immediately get Misty Step and extra uses of it.
And you're better at healing, too? Okay, support Warlock. Weird.
Yeah, I don't...
Oh, wait. It says along with healing bonuses and damage effects on enemies when you use it. So I think you heal when you Misty Step.
Misty... I think that makes it a cool... I could see this becoming a cool trickster Hexblade. Where, like, you're dancing around the field, just cutting into people. Especially because they say Beguiling Defense has updated to reduce damage you take and inflict damage with a reaction.
Oh, it's like the homebrew dancer class. Cool. Interesting. That could be really interesting.
Everyone else is out there with like halberds and greatswords, and you're that jerk out there with a rapier, just like stabbing people and then poofing away.
I don't like you or you or you.
Next up, we got the Celestial Patron.
What?
You're replacing Flaming Sphere with Aid?
And Flame Strike with Summon Celestial.
So here's your support Warlock. Those are 2 words I never thought I'd say together.
Support Lock.
Weird.
Hooray. We've got a healing Warlock. We're creating video game meta builds.
Yeah.
Just make like an Azamar Paladin.
Yeah.
That's basically what this is.
Yeah. Celestial Resilience now also grants you temp HP when you do your magical cunning ritual. Interesting. Oh, and you just get temp HP every time you take a nap?
Yep.
Radiant Soul is now limited to once per turn. I don't know what Radiant Soul is.
I think that's the aura.
That Radiant Soul was an Azamar thing.
You have resistance to radiant damage, and when you cast a spell that deals radiant or fire damage, you add your charisma modifier to one radiant or fire damage roll of that spell against one of its targets.
Oh. It doesn't change your damage type, it just augments it if you're using it. Interesting.
Well, why would you ever use it if you just could just buff all your cantrips and fire like 36 of those in a turn?
Oh, I only pick cantrips that fire radiant or fire. It's kind of like
Sacred Flame.
it's just Bacon. Try every one of Bacon's spells is fire related. So whenever they run into an enemy that's resistant or immune to fire, he's like, "All right, this is on you guys, all you." He does have Chaos Bolt, which he uses a lot, but everything else is straight fire.
That's hilarious.
All on you guys.
I got nothing.
Next up, then we got Fiend Patron. Dark One's Blessing now also grants you temp HP if someone else reduces an enemy's hit points to 0 HP within 10 feet of you.
Oh, okay.
Someone complained that Warlocks were too squishy.
Yeah.
So somebody else kills something, and you're just like, "Whoo, more power."
You're like,
okay,
you're the Pokemon that's second in your list in your belt, so that you can throw them in and get the XP when you're just nearby.
Okay, now I'm angry. So blindness, deafness has been replaced by suggestion.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh.
And Flame Strike and Hollow have been replaced by Geas and Insect Plague.
Insect Plague
Insect
is
Plague,
so strong.
Insect Plague is good, but I would have replaced
Geas
Flame
and
Strike
Insect
with...
Plague are cool.
Yeah.
I think Geas
Hollow
is
is strong, though.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there would have been an argument for replacing blindness, deafness by Geas. But not suggestion. I have so rarely seen suggestion work.
It's such a...
Our bard doesn't have it, but some of the creatures that I was running on D&D Versary have suggestion, and so one of the party members had climbed a wall, and he was out of range of like all the enemies. So I had one of the enemies come over, and I was like, it's a quadruped. I was like, this huge buff dog doesn't run towards you, doesn't climb the wall or anything. It just gets to the bottom of the wall and looks up at you and goes, "Why don't you come down here?" And they were like, "What?" And I was like, "You heard him. You got to roll now."
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, did you do one of the cool blink dogs that we talked about for like 3 hours?
Oh, no, I wish. I will definitely be putting those in at some point. But these are my party knows what Bargists are now. If they haven't figured out yet that these dogs that can cast spells are Bargists, they're that's on them, not on me.
Okay. No. I have a concern, guys.
What's that?
The last part of the Fiend Patron. Hurl Through Hell now requires a Charisma save. Deals 8d10 psychic damage instead of 10d10. But in addition to once per long rest, you can use this feature again by expending a Pact Magic spell slot. So, Hurl Through Hell literally says you hit a creature, you teleport them through, like, the 7 hells and back to a space near you.
What type of anime bullshit is
now means that... Yeah. This now means that if you have multi-attacks on your Hexblade, like you somehow found a way to get more swings, that means you could essentially slap someone ping-pong style through hell by burning a Pact Magic spell slot.
What? I mean, I guess letting you use it...
What is surviving this?
Man. Say using it twice, so they lowered it by 2d10. But it's also psychic damage. Like almost nobody's gonna, unless you're fighting aboleths, like
Resisting
nobody's gonna resist that. Thank you, evil. Yes, hit the like button. Yes.
Yeah,
Murmur, it better be up on the screen.
Oh, that's a
I
good idea.
agree.
Okay, hit the like button. Yeah.
I think DM Lacara says it best about what happens when you hit buttons.
I didn't make a
That's
button
right.
for it yet, but I have the file. One moment, please. This will probably be loud. I apologize.
I could say it live.
Oh,
more
that's true. You could do
succinctly.
that too. I just want you guys to know there will be a button at some point.
That's okay. Hit the buttons. If you have money, hit the buttons that give Okami money. If you don't have money, hit the other buttons because those also give Okami money.
It's so good. It's so good. It's the most succinct, like perfect ad ever.
It really is. It sums up everything. And it explains why people just need to comment and like and subscribe to the Patreon and click all the buttons regardless, like as DM Lacara said, of the monetary value of said button.
To be fair, it tells them how to do it. The why is really what we get from DM Shin.
I mean, if I could have a theme song playing right now, there would probably be sad pictures of Okami behind me.
Yep.
As I explained to you that DM Lacara and I come to you week after week hoping that you'll be able to click the monetary buttons to prevent the great sludge crisis of Okami's life again from occurring. We also need to stop him from enjoying expired ashwagandha bars and falling asleep and drinking LaCroix. He eats ashwagandha bars so that he doesn't have to wake up to the thought of food because he'd rather sleep because you haven't clicked those buttons. So please, help support Okami. And help us help Okami.
And hit the
Thank you.
buttons.
The buttons. I realize you guys probably, those of you watching the stream, probably couldn't hear me talk about ashwagandha because I lowered my mic input because I was going to sing In the Arms of an Angel while Shin was talking, but on
ready.
really low input. And then I realized that I didn't have that open for Discord, so Shin and Lacara would hear me at full volume, but you on the stream would hear me as if I was just in the background.
Just me hearing you full blast singing in the I'd be like, wait a minute, what's going on? But that is exactly the song I was thinking, so thank you.
Yep.
Like, if you have any ability to just slap that crudely in there on a kazoo, Okami, for the video, I'll appreciate it greatly. Just I reach out to editor Okami Power.
I want to Photoshop Okami's head like really, really badly on like some of like the photos from like the Save the Children fund from the 90s.
I'm gonna Photoshop me onto Sarah McLachlan and
Yep.
Photoshop Okami into a child on my lap.
Absolutely.
Let's just have that playing. I need that in my life. If anyone watching this is skilled at art and can work with us, please message us. Once again, we reach out to you for your assistance in purely joyous DM Roundtable memory. Just pure memory. Oh yeah. But before we get too sidetracked again, the last one we got is a great old one patron. I am happy to see it come forward. And I am happy to see they say it's going more Lovecraftian.
Me too. I just wish there were some details.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
they're
so than
saying
hex.
Yeah, like, is Hex now like I personally feel that Hex should have been something akin that Hex should be something akin to the way they have Hunter's Mark, where it's not a spell. Like, don't make it a spell, make it an ability that you can utilize in combat. You just apply Hex when you hit something. They roll make it a save, they roll it. If they fail, you can apply Hex to them. If they succeed, you can't Hex that person for the rest of the day. Done.
He never got a chance to use it, but when JB was still running his character before she died, they're like sort of an amalgam of like 3 different homebrew witch classes that we had sort of gone through, and one of those witch classes has, like, instead of pact moons or eldritch invocations, they have like a witch's hex, and like you can tailor it to what you want to do, but that's essentially what it is. Like, you apply this to someone, and if they fail their save, you're messing with something on their character.
Oh.
And I like that idea because you're like almost the same way you build your invocations to like buff one part of your character. That witch's hex was kind of like, oh, I've run into these type of enemies, I've run into these type of situations, I'm going to tweak my hex so that it helps me in my future endeavors. Like, sure, I'll throw in some Eye of Newt and bake this in my cauldron, what have you, before I apply it to someone so it does what I want it to do.
I like the flexibility.
Yeah.
More so than just normal hex, is you choose one ability score, and that creature, if they failed, has disadvantage on any ability check made with that score. Bacon has hex, I just thought of. That's right, he kept applying hex with strength, and nobody was making anybody else make strength saves. And he was like, I did this for you!
Hopefully, though, we'll see some cool, like I would love if you could summon, like, the visage of, like, the old one. And, like, you just randomly roll on, like, an old... Like, I feel like if I'm gonna run 2024 Old One Patron, I'm leaning full in, and I'm picking a Lovecraftian Old One as my patron.
Ooh!
And I'm leaning full into that old one's lore.
I like this.
Yep. I was thinking you were gonna say you roll and the person either just sees like tentacles rushing at them, or like one enormous eye, or like just like a different part of them just like terrifying them.
That would be even more amazing.
Even like
you just summon the random visage of an old one. Oh.
Even like in Bloodborne, when the higher your insight is, the more you can see of the world. And like once your insight gets past like 25 or something, you can start seeing the amygdalas, which are like these gigantic spider creatures that are like 6 stories tall.
Squid.
And you just realize that they're all over the town you're in. You just haven't been able to see them until now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when it's actually frightening. There's a few in the game that allow you to teleport to another area that you can. It's not needed to complete the game, but it's another optional area that you can access. And the first time I realized it, I saw the amygdala and I was like, "What is that?" And then it grabbed me, and I was like, "Oh, it can do that?" And I woke up in another realm, and I was like, "What is happening?" And then immediately I proceeded to find amygdalas and hope they grabbed me and sent me to random places. Like, it is frightening though. It is petrifying to see Lovecraftian just beasts. And again, Bloodborne is literally Lovecraft love story. Like, as a game. If you guys have ever watched a Let's Play of it, I highly suggest it because the lore of that game is beautiful. But
amazing. My favorite Soulsborne game by far.
A lot of people's.
Yes, Sony. We love Bloodborne.
But we also love
contacting our patron.
They did not give a lot to the Warlock, but yeah. You can contact the other plane as a spell now. Always prepared. You can use it once per day without expending the spell slot. You automatically succeed on the intelligence saving throw required. So go ahead and ask your patron if you can have cake for dinner. That's no fun.
They can't say no. I would be so annoying. I would figure out their schedule, bother them whenever they're taking a shit or whatever. Like, oh yeah.
I would make it though that the old one patron can. You can. You have to make the save because you have to be able to comprehend what they are.
And not go crazy.
Yeah.
Or crazy or.
There's no way you're telling me that you're absolutely getting through to like Haster or one of the greater like the man in yellow, and he's just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, sure, I wasn't doing anything. I'm just waiting for your call." Like
he's gonna come in.
Yeah, like, oh hey, Cthulhu. Hope you weren't doing anything cool right now because I'm just calling you because I'd like a slice of cake. And he's got to be like, "Oh, here's your cake. You earned it." No, it's not gonna happen. Hey, denied. Contact patron. You're rolling your saves. 11 is the Mystic Arcanum. Looks like it didn't change it, except that when you gain a level 11 beyond 11, you may replace one of your Arcanum spells with another of the same level.
Okay. This is something I didn't know Warlocks had because I hadn't had a Warlock in the party or played one. I didn't know that like Warlocks technically are half casters, so they like go from 1 to 5. But with Mystic Arcanum, you have one spell of 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah. It's the only way we get them.
Yep.
As Warlock, and it's kind of broken because there's really there's not a lot of restriction on it. And some of the options are kind of too good.
And I've said this before, like in my repository, there's not a lot of Warlock spells that are specifically for Warlock in the spell repository because I didn't know that Mystic Arcanum was a thing when I like looked through a bunch of these spells. So, but again, you know, the Pinkertons aren't coming to your house. You could make any of the spells into a Warlock spell at that level if you really wanted to. No one's going to stop you.
And as WotC demands, after you get some Mystic Arcanum, you have to hit level 19 to get your epic boon.
Woo!
Because they're all the rage in the revised core set. And the level 19 epic boon for a Warlock suggestion is the Boon of Fate, which gives you an ability to increase score up to 30. And when you or another creature succeeds or fails a d20 test, you can roll 2d4 and just add or subtract that from the result once per short rest, or roll for initiative. Because yeah, combat all the time. Let me just affect everybody's fate once per initiative. Sure, like this. Oh, WotC.
Guys, we have a problem.
What's that?
In the last paragraph, the changes really lean heavily into the chosen flavor of your Warlock and their relationship to their patron.
Ooh. Did they just say the flavor?
They said they lean heavily into the flavor.
Do they though?
I don't think you get to say that if you've moved not even knowing who you're bound to level 3 and took all the things that used to define you as a Warlock and said, yeah, you can pick and choose whatever you want, whenever you want.
like they literally gave you a Dark Souls character here.
Yeah.
They're like, just build it how you want. Everyone that picks Warlock is literally the vagabond, drifter, whatever, like the prisoner class, like whatever that level 1 with base stats and everything class is. That's you if you pick Warlock.
Yeah.
God damn it! That means I have to play a Warlock.
Yeah. So you can slap blades and sling spells all while, reducing somebody's roll once per initiative. Because you're going to hit level 20. WotC has demanded it in 2024.
And all your stats are going to be 30s, at least.
I can't wait to see those plus 10 charisma score, modifiers to charisma on all of those firebolt spells that just hit for no reason, ridiculous amounts of damage. And of course, Eldritch Blast coupled with all the other spells behind it.
The Eldritch Blast! Ooh.
So what do we think about 2024 Warlock? I think one thing we can all agree on is that we hate the fact that, as DM Lacara said, you have no flavor because you don't know who you are until level 3. I still think that's crippling for a ROLE play. Cool stuff if, again, cool options on all of this from the beginning of the Warlock. If you wake up in a tavern and the first thing you do is get into a fight. But if there's any kind of investigation or anything like that, I hope there's still some onus on a Warlock to pick things like their Fiendish Mat, like gaining the different sights from their Warlock patron, beguiling speech, even things like where they can speak any language or understand any language or read any language.
Yeah, that one is useful.
Yeah, I definitely pulled that on Exo Clubs once in one of our campaigns where he was just like, "Oh, you guys can't read this wall. It's all in Celestial." And I was like, "I can." And he goes, "Huh?" And everyone in the party was like, "Huh?" And my Warlock was masquerading as a grave cleric.
Oh.
So I was like, "Yeah, the gods have blessed me with the ability to read their language." And Vin was just like, and he was like, "Oh, you took that Warlock feat, didn't you?" I was like, "Yeah, I did."
That actually is, that specific invocation is going to be a huge boon in 2024 because all the languages except for 4 of them are exotic and you can't learn them normally.
Oh yeah, those speech abilities and stuff like that are going to be extremely useful. But only useful if there's, like I said, a non-combat basis for 2024.
Yeah.
I fear that we're moving back into video game logic of 4E with builds, but I don't know. I don't like it. I like parts of it. I think things of it are cool, but I
feel like
I don't really.
If you're giving everyone the ability to take pack boons as invocations, that everyone is going to take all of them.
Also, this makes this. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and like the idea that you have access to everything in this particular case is going to end up. I feel like it's going to end up making a lot of people building their characters, like their characters are going to end up the same way.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, I feel like this is going to force people to look at Warlock as a cool, like, subclass option for, like, a level splash to maximize their build. Because if the invocations are at level 1, and you can just gain like, imagine now you can get, let's say you get 2 at level 1, right? Imagine a paladin with hexblade abilities, and on top of it can add range to all of his, add range and gain cantrips.
Nope.
This is
Blade ward on a paladin.
There's gonna be so many people who dip 1.
Yes, 1000%. We are going to see the. I think we're 100% going to see the splash a level meta, and I do mean meta for D&D characters and builds going forward. Which is sad, because that means we're going to now have meta for D&D.
Some people like that, but not really us. You're in it for the journey. It's not about the journey. It's about the it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Forget what I said first.
It's not about hitting level 20.
No.
Definitely not about
it.
With your 1 magic item that you've gotten the whole campaign.
Yeah, I literally gave out magic items the first session.
Yeah. My players are drowning in them.
Yeah, my players all, even at level 1, I broke them out of their dimensional hell with 1 item that was magical and scaled with them. I was being
love
nice.
Scaling items. Not necessarily like you have to get a certain threshold, but I just love the idea that like this thing is becoming more powerful as you get used to it and it gets used to you.
Yep. I love sentient magical items.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Good stuff. All right. I think that means it's time for us to switch over to Wizard. Maybe we'll be making sentient magical items, or maybe we'll have to wait until they release whatever next book has Artificer in it. Nobody knows. Yay!
I am going to duck out at this point. This is a good juncture. I have to go to bed.
Oh, that's true. Thank you for joining us. As always, we will definitely fill you in on deets of how much we most likely dislike the Wizard.
Yes, definitely let me know. And let me know if they do in fact have a D10 hit die now.
You will probably feel the screech through the ether.
Yeah, I'll hear it from here.
Throw that one in there just in case.
I'll talk to you guys later. Have fun.
Bye! I'm going to throw it up in the... Again, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, either with the stream or as a VOD, you can check the description of the video to get the link for if you want to follow along with us on the 2024 Wizard changes. If you're watching this on Twitch, I'm going to throw the link up there, and I will pin it for the next 30 minutes.
Okay. Let's do it.
Again, we're just going to skip this video.
Let's delve into Wizards.
The new image of the Wizard. This is the ideal woman for Grimjack. I just want you all to know that. I'm just putting that out there.
Magical
I sent him
floating
the picture by itself.
Yeah. No, I agree. That is 1000% the Grimjack special.
Just in case any of you were wondering.
Definitely a Magic the Gathering card, by the way, also.
Yeah, 100%.
I would not be surprised if that's the art in some of the new MTG crossover that they're doing for the Secret Lair. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of this popped up. WotC always getting money somehow.
They be doing it.
But it looks like just kind of looking at the bullet points for Wizard, starting off, number to propelled words. Number of prepared spells is now a fixed number in the Wizard table. They can replace 1 cantrip each long rest, Spell books can be used as spellcasting focuses. Or foci? 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 Is that the word?
They weren't before? I just assumed that they were.
Huh. Me too. Backing up your spell book is faster and cheaper.
Okay.
And ritual casting has been removed from spell casting.
Oh, you don't need the feat. So any spell that has R can do it. You don't need the feat or to be a druid, I think it is.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never run it like that. If it says R, I let people run it as a ritual if they can cast spells.
I kind of always have thought of like warlocks can ritual spell by working with their patron. Clerics are praying, druids are channeling, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like,
because even
just a ritual.
the barbarian, if you're Path of the, it's not ancients, Path of the Ancestors, you use augury via ritual, and he normally can't cast spells. So I was like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that rules as written rule.
Yeah, did I. But it looks like Ritual Adept functions the same as 2014, but they're now housed under their own feature. Ritual Adept. As long as a spell with the ritual tag is in your spell book and you can read the spell, you can cast it as a ritual without needing to prepare it. Okay, that's... Okay.
Okay.
I feel like that was unnecessary if you just said that rituals can just be cast.
Oh, okay. If that's what you want, dude. I also didn't realize your spell book couldn't be your spellcasting focus. I just assumed the thing I'm writing down all my magical spells and how to interact with the weave for them in was also my focus.
Yeah. Yeah. Stupid me.
Stupid me for writing with magic ink in this book and thinking it's not magic.
Yeah. This book. Well, now it's cheaper and faster too. You know. So not only is my book now useful, it's simultaneously replaceable. For quick. What am I gonna start? What are you gonna give me an ability as a subclass to fling my book and light it on fire and blow it up with all the spells in it? Sure.
I was gonna say I've never seen people do this. I know there are plenty of people playing Wizards out there who make copies of their books just to make sure that they have a copy, but I've never been there. I've never seen a DM that actively hunts for the Wizard spellbook.
No, that's cool. I'm sorry, but that's unnecessarily cool.
Yeah. Oh, you want to be the spellcaster who's the most squishy? I'm just going to take away the fact that you can cast spells. Minus your cantrips.
Look, I wouldn't call myself an evil DM, but I tend to put my players through the ringer. All right, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not so much of a ringer runner that I would have a wizard sacrifice their literal livelihood. That's a bit much, quite honestly. Like that's a bit too spicy for my taste.
Oh, I had to go look up cantrip formulas for the next part. It wasn't what I thought it was, but cantrip formulas is that... Okay, so I'm going to say something. In lore, rules as written, cantrips are not in spell books because you cannot write down the magical formula for a cantrip. A cantrip is supposed to be something that you've learned yourself. It cannot be written down. Other people cannot learn it from it being written down. You just know how to cast a cantrip. It is something that becomes innate to you. But Cantrip Formulas says, you've wrote down the arcane formulas in your spellbook for cantrips. And then this lets you change your cantrips. Huh?
Why not?
It's 2024, Okami.
Alright, cool. Whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Screw the established rules. To hell with all of what we thought we knew. Because why would we keep any of this decades of established lore?
Oh! Speaking of... Okay, so this is kind of like a variation of the same idea that it's difficult, like cantrips, whatever you write down would be like... It would make sense to you, but no one else anyway, because it's like a part of you. They now say other people can't read your spell books. So this means you can't take a spell book and copy the spell without the use of identify. That's problematic.
Well, seeing as I think they're probably going to be giving identify. It seems like identify. I forget who it was. We saw just gets identify.
Oh, maybe you're like banking on your teammates having it, or somebody has to. Oh, annoyingly, you'll have to go into town, have someone identify the book, and then tell you what is written.
Or you'll have to learn identify via some. You'll have to like rush to identify. And literally force it on yourself. Like in older editions of D&D, like if you take 2nd edition, they did something similar in that every wizard or spellcasting class, essentially the wizard and the elf, one of the spells they always have prepared is read magic. Without it, you are useless. Because you cannot read another spell book unless you can cast read magic. So, but it worked there because the scaling of the world was also different. There were no cantrips.
That's also true. No free spells for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and if your spellbook got lit on fire or targeted, which they did do.
Yeah.
Edition, because enemy spellcasters were literally party wipes. Like I said, a lot changed.
Not, I guess you wouldn't call it power scaling, but like the way that the whole game has been scaled back. Like that BX pirate adventure I was looking at for like level 1, where you can walk into a room and the DM is supposed to roll 1d100 skeletons.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The onus of BX is you don't want to fight those 1d100 skeletons. Your party's goal is to get out of that room. And if they can, kite it into a single pathway in which they can't collect on them. Like BX and like BX and Rule Cyclopedia styles of D&D, like the 2nd edition AD&D, I feel like are very heavy on environmental play as well, where you're planning your attack. Like for you as a physical DM, I know that you do a lot of like scale planning when you're setting up your game table. Like you're looking at it the same way I do when I'm playing like in my older game, where I'm saying, okay, give me the room so I know exactly what's in it, so I can shoot down that chandelier and hit a bunch of things or start a fire, because that creates space for me to work with. Maybe they're gonna do that in this 5.5/6e. I don't know.
They're definitely gonna go somewhere towards it with their whole 3D tabletop. I swear to God, the way that they've got their, I forgot what their code name for it is, but the way that they have D&D Beyond's 3D virtual tabletop setup. It seems like you're going to be buying digital miniatures piecemeal. And no.
Oh, joy.
No.
How exciting. Well, you know what you can do with your new wizard miniature, Okami? At level 2, you become a scholar. You gain expertise in one of the following skills they're proficient in. Let's go through the scaling uselessness of skills that you gain proficiency in. From arcana to history to investigation to medicine to nature or religion. This is the first time I've seen in all of 2024 that they are actually trying to talk about the skills.
Yeah. And we had to get all the way to the end.
Well, no, I let me take that back. We did see it in Rogue and Bard.
Oh, yeah. They
that's
had some.
expected,
but I feel like this is more options than they had.
Yeah. And it's also on a class that didn't really get expertise before.
True.
Like Bard and Rogue are known to be skill monkeys. Like you just are so good at what you do when you have a rogue. And I think as a DM, when you see a rogue or a bard in a party, you know that the scale for them of passing a skill check is way different from everybody else in your party. It's sometimes night and day for them. That being said, them getting expertise, I hope that there's going to be more clear-cut explanation. Like, I see they gave us a little bit of the little blurbs for each one. I hope that the way the adventures are styled and the way that they push DMs that are new to style their adventures has them really using those skills. I think we talked about before that perception is just the only skill most people need. Perception in some form of communication, whether it be persuasion, deception, you know. So hopefully they're going to push that, because I'd like to see people use medicine or religion.
Yeah.
History. Beyond your use of history as a dwarf to learn about rocks. Yeah, I'm not letting that go. All right, I'll never let that go.
I've been using in my campaign every once in a while. We'll talk about like a battle that happened in the past, or like a war or something like that, and our barbarian, he doesn't have expertise in it, but he has proficiency in history, and he'll be like, well, most of the time he's not paying attention. So someone else in the party will be like, can the barbarian roll history to see if he knows anything specifically about how this battle went down? Because our barbarian is actually not a himbo. He is very smart and no one expects it.
Oh. That's a twist. That's a cool twist.
It's like, yo, he real, and the Laundry King really leaned into it, where every once in a while, like, he'll bust out like he'll bust out like a saying that sounds like it's real, but he just made it up on the spot. And you'll be like, oh, this must be the doctrine of blah 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 blah. And he'll be like, yep.
That's actually pretty cool. That is actually kind of cool.
But yeah, it's nice to see that they're getting some ROLE play in there. You hope. It again depends on how like them as the player and the DM runs the rest of the campaign. Yes. That's a good start.
I'll take it. I'll take it over what we've seen so far. I'll take it. But now we get into subclasses, which have been moved down a lot. I feel like they started with their subclass originally, didn't they?
Let me see.
Didn't they? When did they get their wizard school?
Arcane Tradition used to be 2.
Okay.
I thought it was first level as well.
They say now that they picked their subclass at 3, an extra. Oh yeah, they answered it for us. An extra level of study is paid off. Their Savant feature now allows them access to 2 free level 1 or level 2 spells of their associated school, rather than a reduction of cost and time when copying new spells. Okay. Additionally, their new Savant feature, they get to add a spell from their chosen school to their spell book each time they unlock a new level of spell slot in wizard class. Huh. Alright, so more spells to cast for the wizard.
It's cool that they're getting free ones, but I feel like, being that the wizard's whole thing is I study magic, giving them stuff for free that they technically haven't studied takes away from their ROLE play. But you do you, wizards.
I mean, they were always allowed to add more spells by finding spell scrolls, weren't they?
Yeah, as long as you can copy it.
Yeah. So, I don't...
Oh, this is probably to counteract the fact that they can't read other people's spell books.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, again...
You can't just...
That's ROLL play. Okay, fine, whatever.
Essentially, the most ideal moment for a wizard of an early level is to get Identify from a spell book early, or ideally, Identify is what is it? It's a divination school. So if you go diviner, if you go into divination as your school, ideally you pick that as your free spell.
Yeah.
Off the rip. So divination wizards are just great. But we'll get to that because we start off with abjuration. Arcane Ward has had its language clarified, and you can refill it directly as a bonus action by expending a spell slot. Abjure wizards get a new feature called Spellbreaker, in addition to absorbing 2014's improved abjuration, grants counterspell and dispel magic as always prepared spells, the latter being able to be cast as a bonus action.
Yikes.
The real standout of this feature is that you can use either spell and fail. No spell slot is consumed. So you only consume a spell slot if you succeed at dispelling or countering the spell. This just made combat frustrating because all it takes is one player remembering that you're a wizard who's an abjuration wizard and cast counterspell. And you can't say they don't have it prepared.
Yep.
They could
and counterspell is weird. The change to counterspell is that if you counter someone's spell now with the 2024 rules, the spell gets countered, but nobody loses a slot. The person you're countering doesn't lose the slot. So you can end up with them just continuing to cast it over and over and over again. It becomes more of a battle of attrition than anything else.
That'll be fun to play.
Yeah.
I'm sure I always wanted to have D&D with my DBZ beam clashes like it's Budokai. That being said, the real all-star diviner, the divination wizard, it doesn't see a lot of changes apparently from his previous incarnation. Oh, I see now. So they're calling them, I see it now. They're calling them diviners and abjurers.
They're taking out
saying that they're from the school.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry that School of Divination was so difficult.
I I feel like this is
Sorry.
like a schools must be schools have exclusive clientele and we can't have that.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's classist. There we go.
Oh God. Well, now that we can be diviners, we have not a lot of changes other than some refinements to the third eye. It now uses a bonus action, and the dark vision feature has increased its range to 120 feet. See invisibility option now allows you to cast see invisibility without using a spell slot, combining and boosting the effects of the 2014 ethereal sight and see invisibility benefits.
So yeah, third eye used to be you can choose either dark vision, ethereal sight, the ability to read any language, or see invisibility until the next time you take a rest.
Oh.
I've never seen anyone use those abilities, but I've also I've never seen a wizard at 10, so I can't really say anything.
Yeah. But cool. Like I said, I think the coolest thing is going to be just the need for identify.
Yeah. You need it now.
Yeah. So diviner wizards kind of have a leg up. But I also wonder, does this also still lock you out of other classes of spell? It seems like you're no longer limited. Okay. Next we got evokers. Obviously, your damage wizards, your megumins. If you're a big if you're a big fan of anime, you just want to cast a big fireball. There you go. You now have potent cantrip and spell and scope spell slot places, with the former now applying half damage on missed spell attacks, as well as successful saving throws against your cantrips. Oh, so you're just taking damage.
Yep.
We just said no more. Oops, I missed. This is.
Oh, sculpt spells is a shittier version of Army Arcana. It's that you can change if your spell is AoE. You can choose a number of creatures equal to 1 plus the spell's level and make the spell go around them.
Okay. Useful. Definitely useful. Makes fireball less frightening.
Yeah.
And you're an evoker, so you're going to have fireball.
Yeah.
Lightning bolt, fireball. Yeah, you've got a lot of big blasts that I can see where that would really be useful.
Big bang attack!
But now, does this also mean that on spells where you would have taken half damage already from a successful saving throw, do you now take more damage?
You take none. They basically, if you choose someone to be part of, if you sculpt a spell around someone, they basically gain evasion.
Okay, we'll see how that plays. It's going to play interestingly into, I think. They say there's not a lot of changes to Evoker, but that's going to be interesting to see how that plays into things. And then last, we have the good old Illusionists. They say, despite a multitude of improvements, we will be the judge of that.
Yeah.
The first you'll notice is improved illusions, which absorbs improved minor illusion and includes new benefits. It allows you to ignore verbal components for illusion spells and increases the range of certain spells. Okay. Level 6, Illusionists get the new Phantasmal Creatures feature, which grants Summon Beast and Summon Fae as always prepared spells. They can be cast as illusion spells, which summons a modified version of the creature and allows a free casting of each once per long rest. Finally, illusory self has been clarified to trigger on a hit instead of an attack roll, and it can be restored by expending a level 2+ spell slot without requiring any action. So you just do it.
Oh.
Awesome. You just do it.
I guess they were trying, like, illusionist was supposed to be like the psychic equivalents. They're trying to put psychic everywhere, but the way that they're running it isn't actually psychic.
No, they're purely genjutsu masters.
Yeah.
And they can summon and these modified versions of summon Fae and summon Beast. It's gonna be interesting why you want to summon a illusion of a beast, because are they going to have the ability to do anything?
I'm also wondering if they're gonna make it like I don't know. I don't think every card in MTG that has illusion as the creature type has this, but some do, where once they become targeted, they disappear. So basically, you're only using it because it's a free slot in this case. If it's just going to disappear when somebody targets it.
Yeah. Like, is it meant to just take up space? I don't. Huh. Okay.
That's your ROLE play. I summon the ball holder imp. His job is to touch your testicles, and then no one wants to come near you, and you're like, "Ha! He's not real."
He's just sitting there menacingly, just rolling his fingers, just waiting.
Flavor.
Yeah. None of that here. None of it. But as we move forward, level 5, as a new feature, you can memorize a spell at level 5, and you can just swap a prepared spell for another one whenever you take a short rest.
So you learn to write really, really fast.
Your penmanship, your cursive takes a real upgrade after 5 levels of wizarding.
Dang.
And then for the next 13 levels, you just get spells until level 18, when you get Spell Mastery. Spell Mastery has seen a few minor changes, starting with the limitation that chosen spells must have a casting time of 1 action. You can only swap 1 spell at a time rather than both. So now you have to have an action spell, and you can only swap 1 spell. However, the chosen spells now count as always prepared and be swapped out on a long rest rather than requiring 8 hours of dedicated study. So like you said before, they're taking away the fact that a wizard studied magic.
Yep. They're making the wizard into the sorcerer.
Ugh.
That's weird. Ugh. I also didn't realize... What's up, Ricktone? Is that... Oh, it's a Funko Pop? I thought for a second it was Sackboy. I got real excited. I didn't realize Spell Mastery was a 1st and a 2nd level spell. I thought that it was just spells of any level that you could learn, but no, it's you can cast a 1st and a 2nd level spell for free before you have to go to sleep. Okay. All right.
Level 19, of course, you get your favorite thing. The thing that we've been so happy to see at every end of every class as we've gone through 2024. The Epic Boon. Which, Okami, what do they want to slap on your wizard today?
The Boon of Spell Recall. Increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by up to 1, up to a max of 30. When you cast a spell using a level 1 to 4 spell slot, roll 1d4. if you roll the spell's level, the slot isn't expended. This is not a once per rest thing. This is anytime you roll 1 to 4. So if you're having a really good day, you have all your 1 to 4 spell slots by the end of the day, and you've just been like vomiting spells.
Now, just to understand something, Okami, at 20th level, right? A wizard has 4 level 1 spell slots. Which means 4 times a day you can guess the number 1 and potentially get a free level 1 spell.
Listen, when you're at level 20, you're probably not using your first, second, third, or fourth level spells in combat, but imagine the damage you could cause to a city or an economy or a specific group of people if you just never run out of 1 to 4th level spell slots that day.
Oh jeez. That's very true.
Like if you're an evoker and you're just like fireball, lightning bolt, fireball, lightning bolt, fireball, lightning bolt.
Yeah, you're just flinging fireballs and you keep hitting 3s. Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I never make 3s. I do today.
Oh man, I wouldn't have seen that many 3s since I played NBA Jam. But it's crazy to me that they're just saying fling spells. We closed it out the old-fashioned way.
We did it.
We
made it through a whole mini-series.
We did. To close out the series, though, the final blurb of WotC's words are, much like the spell book of a level 20 wizard, the pages of the 2024 handbook contain a plethora of exciting arcane options. Yeah, no. Always a spellcasting class with the most toys and tools. The new and improved wizard, they say, has more options at their crackling fingertips.
That is a sorcerer! Or an artificer.
What's an artificer? It's 2024. Leave that 2014 behind you.
I cannot believe they already announced, oh yeah, we're going to bring artificer back in another book. How dare you? How dare you?
Listen, they're thinking about it. They'll retract their statements again. I can honestly say though, after getting to the end of all of the various like class changes, I'm not really hyped for any of them.
Yeah, there's nothing that's like, I want to play this new guy. The only one that, this is a me personally thing, the only one that sounds cool that like I want to play is the Warlock, because now I can just do stupid things. But that means that I'll actually have to live.
If the onus is on combat, stupid things isn't going to get you far.
Yeah.
And judging from the way they've built this so far, I think there's going to be a heavier onus on throwing you in roguelike combat of random encounters all the time in dungeons, which again is fine if that was the purpose of your game.
Yeah. You gotta find that balance, and every table is going to be different.
Yeah. But I think that if you are a table that is looking to have a story that goes beyond you fell in a dungeon, kill everything to find the crown at the bottom of the dungeon. You know what I mean? You're gonna... Because that's probably, quite honestly, the only way I would let my party hit level 20 is if I created a, like, crazy roomed, like, crazy floor dungeon and set it that every certain number of levels was a level up. Like maybe
like
level,
you need
level 2, you hit level 2. Level 4, you hit level 3. Like, you know, some
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of scaling.
It's like in that time I got reincarnated as a slime, one of the other demon lords, her ability is that she can make a labyrinth. Like that's just her ability. And she's like, okay, so I can make a labyrinth with 100 floors, and I can change the biome on each floor if you want me to. And they were like, how do we get people who have money to spend to come to our country? And Rimuru is like, yo, we make a dungeon. It'll have leaders in it, what have you. There'll be different biomes. There's different traps on every floor. There's different creatures in there. And they basically have like a dungeon that they run essentially, so that adventurers can come in and try to win prizes and other stuff. And
I've seen that in a couple of manga as well, or the same idea of them crafting a dungeon.
And if you're running like a MCDM type game where like your power suffuses it, they were originally like, how do we get monsters to come live in our dungeon? And they were like, oh, we just put one of the main characters is a true dragon, and so they put him at the bottom of the dungeon, and he has so much, he unleashes such an aura that monsters just naturally spawn around him. So because he just lives in the dungeon, it's full of monsters now.
Well, even like one of the original ideas I have for my adventure that I wrote up, my desert adventure, was that you could run it as pure desert exploration and scale leveling to that, because the idea was you're rolling a random dungeon every time they find relics and stuff like that. Link that to some kind of progression leveling, and you could just run it as combat, exploration, no need for story, really. You know what I mean? Like, I could strip the story beats from it and run it just that as a system. Sure, that could work for hitting a perfect level 20 game. But again, I, as a DM, am not looking forward to getting my players to level 20. Because level 20 means what you're facing is it's on literally an anime astronomical, you're fighting gods level.
Yeah.
Like, you're fighting gods for their position as god.
And like that creature sheet is probably huge. There's so much stuff to do on it, but also all the players' sheets are so big. My players are level 7, and I think maybe 2 out of 7 in the party could tell you what all of their abilities are. Maybe 2.
Not to mention, some of the stuff you had to have acquired by the time you hit a level 20 in an adventure, whether it's milestone or experience, you've probably gotten gear that is so ridiculous that, like, your pluses to things don't make sense.
Yeah.
Now add that to this onus of, we want you to hit level 30 in base stat.
I don't know why I whispered. How you feeling? I hope you're feeling good. We are so strong. Have you looked at any of the changes where basically they want every campaign to go up to level 20 and everyone's going to have a 30 in every stat? Oh, I'm sorry.
So excited.
Like, I don't understand how you can go from the 2014 rulebook where your characters are supposed to have like one magic item their entire campaign, and then go, nah, everyone's gonna get to 30 stats.
Listen, we want you to bum rush your way to super powerful, so that you can hit level 20 and get your epic boon, and then at level 20 figure out how they're going to work in their new super prestige system that I'm sure they'll announce in a couple of months.
I've been thinking about that too. They've probably got to have some weird kind of like. There's got to be some kind of prestige system. There has to be. There's no way you're hitting 30 in your stats. There's no way.
Yeah, I can't imagine they don't want to. I don't mind the idea of chucking them into a meat grinder. It's just at a certain point, the amount of things I need to throw at them to grind is going to become. It's going to become just fantastical, and I'm going to have to try. I'm going to have to figure out some narrative reason as to why. Like at level 18, you're going to probably just see like 12 green dragons chilling on a stoop. Like, hey.
I was thinking like you almost have to at those kind of levels, like you almost have to adopt like a video gamey approach. Like, oh, the round's over. The lair action is just like 30 more goblins pop out of the walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're fodder rule. You're just like goblins.
Oh yeah, no, the walls will be shitting goblins. Just
meteor swarm.
Just meteor swarm, but it's all goblins. Like
to be fair, I did. I shot a goblin out of a. I have a I'm gonna make words one day. In my campaign currently, there is a war machine that has a catapult specifically for goblins.
Oh god, I'm scared. That being said, I don't think that 2024 is going to lend well for anyone of the old guard. Is I guess the best way to put it. I think it's going to. I think the eventual and the inevitable forced integration of 2024, because they're going to show us the new subclasses, and I think that's really where they're going to push a lot of DMs into having to move to 2024, because they're going to be like, oh, look at this cool new way we did the subclass. So it's going to be like, oh, I don't have that option. I hate doing that to a player. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to be able to fulfill some level of their idea for their character. But at the same time, you always do have to limit things based on what your world has and other things. Balance of common sense and world building, you know.
Like the mental load, like the last big fight that my players got into, they were fighting like a military platoon. And just for me to keep track of like what all these, every one of these specific guys, obviously they're trained for some task. Like for me to have, I had a whole bunch of note cards out that were like one sentence of this creature's motivation. I found that like that's the trick that makes things most easy for me to run. Like whatever this creature is, I have a sentence of motivation for what that creature is. And anytime they're going to do something, I just read that sentence back and I'm like, how does their next action fit into their motivation? I'm like, I was still forgetting stuff. When it's like, when a sheet is going to be like 6 pages long, I'm not going to be able to keep up. As we were talking about like goblins falling out of the walls, spider just appeared on my wall, and I was like, nope, this is not going to be your dungeon, my guy.
No. No, absolutely not. And to that, I do have to say, you know, if you're watching this and you are excited for 2024, you know, good. You know, just our opinions.
Yeah.
We're not the D&D judges and the aficionados, but we're
not the Pinkertons.
We do have, we're definitely not the Pinkertons. But I am curious if you do have a lot of love for what's coming in 2024. Maybe in the comments tell us why.
Yeah. Or if not, like, overall, what's the most exciting thing you're looking forward to class-based in 2024? I'll put a comment for that later and I'll pin it.
Or what's a gripe you have that maybe we didn't address in 2024? Maybe there's something in there that you saw that you were just like, ugh. You know, I heard, I was talking to a guy the other day, and we were just joking about like the new thing in 2024 where everybody can pick a weapon style. And he was like, what's going to happen when my wizard decides that he wants to have a fighting style? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you do then. And of course, fighting styles, if you look at the new Warlock, you slap a fighting style on a Hexblade invocation at like level 2.
Oh, that's a good point. Yep.
Now we're really building builds. And I said it last week, I think, when I read the word build, that I hate that. And I think that'll remain my biggest gripe, is that 2024 pushes players to build a meta versus build their character through narrative story point.
And like, since we went over the Warlock today, because you can do stupid things with the Warlock now, it's basically the only one beyond the wasn't the sorcerer, was it the rogue? One of the other classes let you swap between how you were building, but if you swap between, you are at a huge disadvantage. With the Warlock, it seems like the only one where they're like, you can actually build this guy really however you want. And while you won't be like extremely powerful, you still have the opportunity to build the Warlock as weird as you want. As weird as you want them to like react to the world around you. All the other classes seem to be like, I picked my build at level 1 and I'm going to get to 20 as this build. No variation. You're like missing out on so much of what makes D&D fun, like your party's experience, not necessarily their experience points, but like what they've run into as they've been on their adventure should shape how the character is built.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But we're instead going to get the perfect min-max, which is fine, again, if that's how you want to play it. But just, it should be the option, not the rule.
Remember, though, the first thing I thought you were going to say is, huge important point. Remember, everyone, we have D&D at home.
We do have D&D at home. We absolutely have D&D at home. D&D will remain at home as far as I can.
God, that's so
foresee it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes, you need that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And it leads to, I can say honestly that the first time I came back to playing D&D, which was the campaign I was with you, Okami. And that was like my first reintroduction to it after a long hiatus. Knowing that my character's backstory that I had was going to play into the game in itself in some level allowed me to really want to play into what a person of this backstory that I wrote would do. Not what do I think is cool, but what do they think is necessary.
Yeah.
And when you as a player can start to think as your character and play off your character's needs, not your player wants, which are really weird things to say, because But it's also because you as the player aren't necessarily always your character.
Yeah. Your first character is probably you plus, but after that, now you're playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really going to affect things. I think it's really going to hurt things to not allow players to want to play their character. But we'll see. We'll see if hopefully WotC proves me wrong.
Yeah, hopefully. Speaking of how you're going to play your character, since we're done with the new class changes, that means we're back on our regular schedule of at the end, y'all can decide, well, we decide via poll, us DMs, plus community vote, what topic we talk about next. So we've been through the classes, but there are what's new articles for the new way that you'll be building a character, which is your feats and backgrounds paired up. Or
So excited.
they've detailed the new races, which I'm hoping there's at least some variation, because the way that they've kind of described them up until this point is kind of like, oh, you're just an amorphous blob that you kind of throw stats on, because if we have any variation, that would be racism.
I'm with you, Strick. I do want to try it a little bit before I fully knock it, but at least from what I'm seeing, and I don't know when I'm really going to get around to throwing my, $200 at WotC so I can get all things 2024. Probably not till they have a sale on it, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
Unless WotC wants to sponsor Okami and give all of us the stuff for free.
I'm hoping that my players will get together and be like, here's this thing we bought you, because I have no interest in buying it myself. And they've done that before when I forgot which source book it was. They were like, we're going to need this for the campaign. So we got together and here's the code for the book. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. But I'm like, I don't really intend on buying the new stuff anytime soon. And I still have so much more homebrew to go through.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
I was just thinking of... Oh, tell me.
The Roundtable.
It's true.
And if you didn't know, folks, you can get all access to a lot of the homebrew that Okami has curated and found over his course of growing love, I should say, for tabletops, D&D, and all things involving some clickety-clack math rocks by becoming a patron.
Look at us doing ads. Can you believe it?
I can. I can. And helping Okami get more stuff to make these streams better for you guys. I'm just a guest on this channel. I pop up all the time. I feel like nowadays because I keep getting notifications on my phone. I'm pinned in something. But Okami does great content. Check out the Hyro Okami channel for more than just D&D. He does great streams. He does magic. He does video games. He gives his reviews. Check out some of the cool things that have been coming up, like delving into your DMs and a lot of his other work. He has another roundtable piece that he's been working on. Check out Okami's stuff. He's got a lot of good content, and I don't just say that. I do wholeheartedly stand by it.
Don't forget to
give him
check
the
out
likes and thumbs up where you can.
Don't forget to check out Shin's stuff too. You're here on YouTube. You're here on Twitch.
I appear. I appear. I appear like a gray witness.
Oh, God. I can't wait till we have the free time to just start running stuff of the stuff that we've done over here. It's going to be so good.
When we start getting to the... Ooh. Oh, you know what you could call it? You could call it supplementals. You could call it supplementals extra credit.
Oh, that's great. Oh.
And just have fun with it like that.
I did say at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. I made a new role on the Okami Kure Discord. It's something that we had talked about, I think, like 2 weeks ago. That if you become a YouTube member, you get early access to videos. So, I made a new role on the Okami Kure Discord where if your Discord and YouTube are linked and you're a YouTube member, you'll automatically get thrown in and you'll have your role that you have on YouTube on the Discord. If your accounts aren't linked, let me know and I can give you the role. But there's now a little spot to chat in for early access videos if you want to talk about things before the rest of the public gets to see them. I finally figured out how Discord and YouTube integration works.
Look at you moving up in the world. Look at you getting it done.
Trying. I'm trying.
I mean,
But
hey, we finished 2024.
We finished 2024, man. So that being said, we're going to go back to our regular polls. This time, though, there's only going to be 2 options. So you can put in the community vote for either backgrounds and feats, or we can do races, and then whichever one wins, we'll do that one next week. And whichever one loses this poll, we'll do that the week after. And then we'll go back to our like regularly scheduled, you can pick from feats and items and subclasses and classes and all that stuff. Actually, I'll probably remove classes. We've done a lot of classes lately.
That's fair. But I'm excited for people to be able to go with this, or people to go with that. So long as you do it with us.
Wait, I do have a question for you, Nystrick, though. Are you running a campaign too? Do you want to join us on DM Roundtable? I can't explain to anyone, I'm not going to turn on the camera for this, but pretty much like the last 10 minutes, I've been walking around almost like the guy who does the good evening Vine. You know how he like walks around town with like his arms swinging, but he's in like a square shape? That's how I've been walking around my room while we've been having this conversation. I don't really know why, but apparently this is how I talk about TTRPGs now.
That's fair.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Genius! If you're free Monday nights, you are more than welcome to come join DM Roundtable. I didn't even think of that. That makes a lot of sense.
To have more voices and opinions on this stuff.
It's good too when it's a girl, so our audience doesn't think we've scared them off.
Oh my God, it's true. It's very true.
But it's okay. DM Lacara comes back every time. The only one we scared off was Bacon. Also true. Are you a girl? We have 2 girls normally. Well, I wouldn't say normally. Dungeon Mommy is kind of like an extra.
Dungeon Mommy is Mommy. Mommy's got a lot to do. But you can also find Dungeon Mommy's stuff. I'm sure Okami will throw some links for her stuff in there too.
Check out her podcast. And you can find her on Twitch screaming at scary games.
Yep.
Actually, on her podcast, I think it's either the last episode or the second to the episode before that. Her and one of her players talked about their D&D campaign.
They sure did. I actually did watch that, so.
I'll get to it in 10 months, give or take.
I know you will. Oh, I know you will.
I will offer feedback then, though, at least.
30 episodes later. But as always, Okami, thank you for having me here on the round table. It's always good to be able to share opinions and terrible flavor with the flavorless world of 2024 WotC. This adobo-less D&D of 2024.
They're scared of adobo. It's so sad.
It's gonna be bland. A
You
bland
never know.
boiled chicken that is 2024. No, I'm just kidding.
The only thing I know we're probably not going to talk about this because I don't think they're releasing any like what's changed with monsters, but it has been confirmed that they are bringing back the bloodied condition. A lot of people just use it altogether, like they just use it in their campaigns where when a creature gets below half health, they can be considered bloody. Like if you were playing like Doom or something, your character's icon would have the blood all over them. That kind of idea. But we know for sure with the 2024 creature stat blocks, bloodied is going to become a gameplay condition where like when this creature becomes bloodied, this happens. Or when this creature becomes bloodied, they get a new ability or a new attack.
I'm excited to see it.
I like we had talked a little. I had said before that like in my campaign's Discord we were talking about like MCDMs RPGs, MCDMs RPG and how like his world is more video gamey. So like the way that his creatures run, it's almost like a scripted event in a video game because like that's what Matt Colville did. Like it makes sense. Like oh, when the creature's health reaches this happens. That kind of thing. So I feel like we're going to get a little bit of that in regular 5e, or I guess 5.5 or 1D, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, well, I'm nervous, like I said, but who knows? Who knows? I think the one thing that WotC has in its favor is that if they pay attention to the feedback they get from this first run, they can potentially make a lot of cool changes. Because I do think there's potential.
Yeah.
I just think they need to, as you put it best, and I think you really did put it well when you said it the first time. The ROLE play needs to return and not be sacrificed for the ROLL play.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm
There's
worried
definitely been
about.
a lot of sacrifice of role playing for rolling while playing.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm a little worried about. But again, like maybe this is better for your specific table.
Yeah. Different fables for different tables.
Something I thought of just now is a lot of these changes probably make the experience more streamlined if you're running an adventurers league. Like if you're playing for all intents and purposes pro D&D, they're probably more streamlined so that those sessions run way smoother. There's less for you to think about the background of your character because while yes, when you're in Adventurers League, you could be playing like a super long campaign. A lot of the people who are joining Adventurers League are like in there for one shots.
That's true. And it's kind of more what you want. You kind of want something you can kind of just run and maybe forget you ever ran. Or just try something quickly.
Yeah. And like especially we had this conversation specifically with Fist. Like if Grimbo puts you in a high level campaign you've never played before, there's so many things on your sheet. There's still going to be so many things on your sheet. But if you remove all the ROLE play elements from your sheet when you're given a high level sheet and you've like never played before, there's way less for you to try to absorb.
Very true. Very true. And you don't have to understand all your skill rolls or skill checks just because at best you just need to know what you have the biggest plus to.
Man, you're living the dream, Nystrick. Okay, well, I don't know if it's the dream. Depends on who's coming to your table at the friendly local game store. It could just be people you want to strangle. Our friendly local game store just started running D&D events, and I happened to be in the store when they were running a campaign, and they were sitting at a long table. The DM was in the center of the table, which is super weird, but okay. DM was in the center of the table. There were 3 players. 1 player was at the head, 1 player was at the foot, and 1 player was next to the person at the foot. And the players at the head and the foot wanted to fucking kill each other in real life. And the DM was clutching his notebook like he was going to beat both of them. And I was like, okay, so like this is a bad situation.
I don't think I've ever wanted to beat one of my players.
I have. I'll bet it's relatable.
No, you put him away. You put that angry little guy away.
I'll make that button for DM Lacara's thing next. It's because I didn't get a chance to pull out the whale pack, so DM Bacon's friends. I know what you're talking about. Oh, that is the one book that I have never opened. I have looked in all the other campaign books, but never that one. Oh, ooh. Interesting.
That sounds kind of fun.
I feel like there are ways to make that work. Oh, never mind. I feel like there are ways to make that work as long as the people who are playing good aren't good just for the sake of having a stick up their butt. Like stereotypical paladins. Then it won't work. It'll just be annoying.
Oh,
man. We have so much experience to glean off of you.
Yeah, for sure. Seriously.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I didn't think of that. So cool.
Well, it sounds like we have a lot of upcoming fun, too.
Future episodes.
Yeah. Pissing off the other people hasn't. I also, so I'm going to do a delving into your DMs episode on this at some point. But there's a thing that clubs, who's DM'd both Shin and I before, had brought up a long while back, and I love it as an idea. But there's like cultures of play within tabletop RPGs, and I honestly think that if as a DM you had like, this is the example that I always use, when you play DDR or Stepmania, each of the songs has like a visual representation of what kind of steps are in it. And it's like out of a circle, it'll be like a rhombus or something based on what kind of steps are in it. I feel like so much could be alleviated as a DM and a player, like forming a play group. So much could be alleviated if you just had like a visual representation of what cultures of play your tables would fall into.
Yes. Yeah. I remember those.
Like, I feel like if you could, like, say you go to, like, last year at Comic-Con, they, like, booked out half of the lowest floor in the front of the Javits building for just Adventurers League games. If you if each of the DMs at each of the tables had a card that just had like, these are my cultures of play at my table, and you just looked at those cards, like you would know which one of those tables you want to be at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's okay to have those tables, have varying amounts, because you're never going to get the perfect representation for each representation of play.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, like sometimes you'll have a group who's just like, all we want to do is roll damage dice. Just we're murder hobos. We just want to run through a dungeon, murder. You have another group that's like, we don't want to fight anything. We want to play intrigue. You could do whatever you want, and that's the beauty of D&D.
I think what you just said, so like we have this joke that there's a bar, on one end is adoption agency and the other end is murder hobo, and like I feel like if you had that visual representation of what cultures you're into, and then where on the scale of adoption agency to murder hobo you are, like you could find the perfect groups. Y'all, this is the app we need to make. Y'all, we would be rich.
For real.
I'm about to bother Mike right now.
I have an idea and I need your assistance. But again, you know, there's no wrong way to play D&D unless it's a way in which everyone isn't having fun. And I don't mean not having fun because you threw, what if I want to adopt and then murder the little pudding? I mean, listen, if you want to raise your own bacon fist, I'm not going to be mad at you.
Yeah, your party members might have something to say about it.
Yeah, if they want to, I'm not going to promote the party attacking the person who killed the mascot. But if a fireball happens to fling your way, they chose to throw the fireball. I have zero control over their actions during combat.
That's also like that's part of your character development. Like when we introduced Jamiroquai to the party for the first time, our rogue was like, we need to kill it. Okay, so nice trick. Jamiroquai in my campaign is a awakened mushroom. Well, I was gonna say the mini is a little mushroom girl, but it's an awakened mushroom that one of our party members who died, like raised in the pot of awakening, and it like she sent it back to the party, and technically they were all there when it was put in the pot, so it is friendly to all of them. And Grimbo was like, we have to give it a gender-neutral name because it's gender-neutral as a mushroom. It asexually reproduces. So I choose Jamiroquai as the most gender-neutral name there is. And everyone at our table was like, what the fuck? And he was like, it's so gender-neutral. And then we were like, Jamiroquai is a he.
Jamiroquai, of all things.
So, Jamiroquai, at the beginning, our rogue was like, we have to kill it because that person's going to spy on us through this thing. But now, if anybody touches that fucking little mushroom, my party will murder them and everyone in their family line.
Let me do it. Put me in, coach. Give me your party for 45 minutes. Let me make their lives a living hell for like a third of a session. I promise you.
You want a delicious in dungeon? Oh my god. You want a delicious in dungeon, Jamiroquai? You have to tell Grimjack that. Please send exactly that. I want a delicious and I want to senshi your mushroom mascot. They love their mushroom kid, and they love a beat up goblin that they found in like their first almost dungeon.
They still have that goblin?
Yep, he's still alive. He's still the worst bard in the universe, but he's still alive.
Why haven't you hit it with a fireball?
I even gave him the stand. The actual mini's like a little. It's not a skinny mini. It's a flat plastic mini, but it's like a stand up acrylic mini. And I changed the base to a heart because they love him so much. And all I can think of is, man, he's gonna go out in such a blaze of glory. Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
There's just so many things that would have been blown up. I feel like accidentally a pot of molten lead might have fallen, or a dragon might have swooped out the sky, just snatched up a small fungi child.
Oh man, I'm waiting for this countdown, man. He got 7 days left before his open shatters itself. I wonder where he's gonna be.
You are too excited. You are far too excited.
I want to be like, I'll teach you not to talk to my snake hologram, man, but they're wholly unrelated concepts.
But on that note, Okavi, I do need to exit stage left. So.
All right. We hope you players of all classes out there. I'm gonna get better at that one instead of you guys and gals. We hope
players of all classes. I like that.
I've been trying to use it in like the solo stuff, but it's so hard to rewrite like 10 years of hey there guys and gals.
I get that.
So I'm trying to use players of all classes, but all right, you players of all classes, remember that you can leave a comment on either of the VODs. I will make sure that the one on Twitch is published because all mine are hidden from the clerical streams that used copyrighted music, but I will make sure that it is published. We will make the poll in the DM Roundtable chat, so you have 24 hours to put in your community vote for either next week's episode being backgrounds and feats, or the new race changes. Or I guess species. We're not going to say races. Sorry, what was that?
Are we doing a Labor Day episode?
Is it Labor Day?
I think so.
Oh my god, I don't even know. Okay, we might not have an episode. I have to make a poll in the DM chat first. But yeah, whenever the next episode is.
Yeah.
If you want it to be
next week.
Backgrounds or feats, or what was the other one there? The new species, races, whatever it is. We're probably still gonna end up calling them races. Whatever. Put that in the comments below. You have 24 hours before that poll gets thrown in. You guys get your community vote. The rest of us DMs will come on over there. And anything else I'm missing? I don't think so. Oh, if you're following me on YouTube, you will know that the next episode is coming out because I will probably post about it. But if you're following me on YouTube, it'll pop up when I make the icon for it for the day. It'll be there early, and then you can hit the notify me button to know, but I will always post on Twitter and the Okami Career Facebook and YouTube before the episodes come out. So just in case you didn't hit notify me, you'll still be notified. Okay, and with that, we're heading out. I'm gonna kill YouTube first. Actually, no, I have to kill Twitch first. So I'm dropping out of Twitch. thank you all for coming. I'm gonna add Nystrick to the DM Roundtable chat. In the meantime, bye everyone. Have a good week. We'll see you
Later,
soon, and
folks.
happy holidays if we don't have a stream next weekend or week.
Oh yeah.
We'll let you
Bye
know.
everybody.
Bye. Bloop.